There's a version of you that only comes out when no one's around. The version you're ashamed of. The version you hope no one ever finds out about. And you've convinced yourself that that version is the real you. It's not. Sin does a strange thing to identity. It doesn't just make you feel guilty, it makes you feel different. Different from who you used to be. Different from who you want to be. Different from who God calls you to be. It whispers, "See, this is who you really are. A failure, a hypocrite, a disappointment. Too dirty for God, too broken to pray, too ashamed to come back." But listen closely. Shame imitates the voice of identity, but it's a terrible impersonator. Shame sounds convincing because it knows your secrets. It knows where you fell. It knows what you did when no one was watching. And it uses that knowledge to convince you that your mistake has become your identity. But shame is a liar dressed in your own voice. Maybe your sin wasn't public. Maybe no one else saw it. But you did. And that's enough to put cracks in how you see yourself. Maybe it was the same sin you swore you'd never do again. The same cycle you said you beat. The same mistake you thought you were finally free from. And now you're back at square one, staring at yourself in the mirror, wondering how you got here again. And now you don't just feel guilty, you feel different, like something inside you shifted, like your calling slipped through your fingers, like God marked your file used to have potential. You still show up to church, you still pray sometimes, but inside you feel like an impostor, like you're pretending to be someone you're no longer qualified to be. You still believe in grace, but you don't believe it applies to you. Not after what you did, not after how many times, not after the promises you broke. Grace is for people who fell once or twice. Grace is for people whose sin wasn't that bad. But you knew better. You had accountability. You had every reason not to fall, and you did it anyway. But here's the thing no one tells you. Sin can change how you feel about yourself, but it cannot change what God says about you. Identity isn't built on your strongest day, and it isn't erased on your weakest one. God doesn't stop calling you just because you stopped acting like the person He called. Your sin didn't rewrite your identity. It just revealed how much you need the one who gave it to you. Because the truth is, you were never supposed to maintain your identity on your own. You were never supposed to be strong enough, disciplined enough, or perfect enough to keep it intact. Your identity was always meant to be held by someone stronger than you. Your failure feels final because you're looking at yourself through the eyes of shame. But God sees you through the eyes of intention, through who He crafted, not who you collapsed into. He's not shocked by your weakness. He's not surprised by your sin. He already knew you'd fall, and He still called you by name. Think about it. Peter denied Jesus publicly 3 times, and Jesus didn't respond with, "We need to talk about what you did." He responded with, "Follow me." Because Jesus doesn't speak to who you were last night. He speaks to who you're still becoming. Your worst moment didn't surprise Him. Your darkest sin didn't cancel His plan. Your shame didn't change His mind. When Jesus looked at Peter after the resurrection, He didn't see a denier. He saw a rock. He saw the leader of the early church. He saw the man who would preach to thousands. He saw past the failure and called out the future. And that's exactly what He's doing with you right now. So if you're sitting there thinking, maybe I ruined everything, no, you didn't. If you're thinking, God's done with me, He isn't. If you're thinking, my identity is gone, it's not lost. It's buried, under guilt, under fear, under the version of you sin tried to shape. But identity given by God does not die. It waits. It waits for you to stop listening to shame and start listening to the one who named you. It waits for you to stop defining yourself by your worst moment and start believing what God said about you before you ever fell. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not defined by how many times you've fallen. You are not disqualified because you messed up again. You are called. You are chosen. You are still His. And no amount of sin can undo what God has declared over your life. You are not what you did. You are who God designed you to become, and sin has no authority to rename you. He hasn't changed your identity. He's calling you back to it.